In this look at retailers and overview of retailers and how they create value, we'll be going over a two-pronged model for retailer value creation, as well as a couple of well-known theories of retailing, the margin turnover trade-off, and then competition, intra and intergroup competition for different types of retailers. When you think of your favorite retailer, one either online or a brick and mortar store that you like going to frequently, you just enjoy shopping there, you do buy things, not just looking around. If you look at this model and compare it to your likes for the particular retailer or set of retailers that you frequent, you'll see a lot of first-hand experiences that are kind of built into this model. When you look at retailer value creation, the first thing that is looked at in this particular model is doing kind of the right things. And the thing that we do is make sure that we have the right merchandise available for our target market or target markets, depending on who our customers are. So picking out, you could put quotes around the right, the word right. The right merchandise means that we understand our customers, and when we have buyers, or we ourselves own the store and we're buying for the merchandise in the store, we're kind of buying for the taste of our customers who are going to come in and then buy from us. And so having the right merchandise is the number one thing for a retailer. You can really enjoy the atmosphere of a store, you can enjoy, they have great prices, but if they don't have things that are appealing to you and your taste, your needs, providing benefits that you want, then whatever services or whatever products they provide are not going to be right for you, and you won't buy. And so the right merchandise is pretty much the key thing to running a successful retail business. The second thing you see is a good shopping atmosphere. And with a good shopping atmosphere, that can be many different things. The colors and textures of the inside of the store or the website. It can also mean the actual merchandise itself and how it fits into the flow through the store visually. And music, all the different senses that you can appeal to in the retail layout, online or in person, create what's called a good shopping atmosphere. The store I mentioned at the beginning, one of your favorite stores, you may think about it and like going there because you just like how it makes you feel. You like the actual scenes and that you see and the sounds and smells of the place. Another thing that retailer can do is decrease the shopping risk. This can be anything from actual physical risk by having store security if it's a high risk area, locating stores in safer areas. It can be a return policy that's very flexible. Whatever you can do to decrease the risk that any consumer takes whenever they purchase something, there's going to be some thoughts about, was this the right thing? Could I afford this? Anything you do to make sure they feel less of that and they're reassured that you'll be behind them on the purchase if anything were to go wrong. You can be an intermediary between them and the manufacturer if the manufacturer has any difficulties in refunding or replacing merchandise. So decreasing shopping risk is another factor. Also convenience. I mentioned location already, but having either multiple locations, convenient hours, multiple different types of conveniences as far as pay, different forms of being able to pay. If you're an online retailer, different versions of delivery, faster, normal speed, multiple different vendors that you might go through as far as the actual delivery is concerned, FedEx, Postal Service, UPS, etc. So those together help a retailer, if you may remember from economics on customer utilities, these are the types of things that one can do in a retail business to increase customer utility. So any one of these will cause increases in customer utility. And that in turn is going to enhance value over and above whatever value is seen from a competitor retail business that sells some of the same or even all the same merchandise. These are the types of things that marketers practice, making sure that they're understanding customer needs and fulfilling them as well as or better than the competition. But another avenue to go through, and there are some discount retailers that have done very well over the past several decades, is on the control of cost side of things, on the value creation model. And with controlling costs, with all other things being equal, if you do a good job of buying merchandise and having your buyers or yourself, if you're a sole proprietorship, negotiate the best prices from vendors, that then you're still able to make the target profit that you want to make, but your customers see you as a very reasonable priced retailer of whatever types of goods you're selling. That's one way to control costs. Other ways are through everything from the heating, venting, and air conditioning systems, lighting systems, controlling for loss with theft, and what's called shrinkage, which is kind of drops in the value of, or the actual physical inventory through mistakes in recording a shipment in. You might have recorded a shipment in of 12, but there were only 11 there, so you've paid for 12, but you don't have the 12th one, or someone stole it. There's a lot of different things, and well-performing retailers that perform at the top of their game are very good at controlling costs across the board for wherever costs occur. This leads you, with all other things being equal, or if you're doing a really good job on the top line, to being able to have as I said before, a competitive, highly competitive price. You can reduce your price and still be profitable. And that in turn enhances value from that side of things. So if you're hitting on the top half of this model and doing the right things for your customer, and in the bottom you're doing the right things to make the business operate efficiently and not waste money and waste resources, you're able to hold the line on prices. And both of those together will enhance value, and customers will gravitate toward your retail business as opposed to other similar ones, because you're doing the right things and doing them efficiently. As I mentioned before, the margin turnover trade-off, this is a well-known adage in retailing, where and other businesses as well, but we're looking at retailing here, where high margin businesses are generally feature low turnover. The epitome of this is a jewelry retailer, especially high-end jewelry retailers such as a Tiffany's or a Fred Jewelers or something like that. And what they'll do is they'll have an extremely high margin, perhaps several 100% markup on a particular item. You might take a diamond bracelet that retails for $6,000 in the store, but it only costs them $1,000, or any kind of variation of that. But what you'll find is they may only sell 3 of these in an entire year, and therefore that would be an example of high margin, low turnover. Other high cost aspects of doing that type of business is that you might have an antique armoire to display those jewelry pieces that costs thousands of dollars itself, but it lends to the atmosphere of that high-end store, and therefore it adds to your net need to have a high margin to cover your costs, but you don't expect to really sell very many of the things that you're selling. There are all kinds of businesses in retail in between, but at the other end of the spectrum are something that's well known to all of us, and it's the supermarket industry. And whereas you might sell 3 diamond tennis bracelets at several times more than you paid, in the retail grocery business in supermarkets, you may sell something for 49 cents that you paid 45 cents for, or somewhere along those lines. So what you're dealing with here is perhaps turning over inventory in the store 100 times a year, 200 times a year, some numbers like that, where you're selling things constantly but not at a very high margin. But in the end, the money that you generate to help pay overhead expenses and all the other things that lead to your gross and then net profit, they're very similar types of end results, if you will, the net profit margin for those different types of businesses. So the margin turnover trade-off lends itself to needing to manage a high volume on the one hand, not making much of a markup, make much of a margin on each sale, versus the other way, where you're carefully managing the inventory and it's rarely sold, but when it is, it gives you a lot more cash toward expenses and profits. And the other thing I mentioned in the overview of the value creation model was competition among retailers. There's a theory of competition among strategic groups where retailers are grouped into similar types. They would have to be exactly the same, although there are examples of brands and stores that have exactly the same business model pretty much, and you could go to one and see the same brands for sale as for their competitor. And you'll find a lot more managers of such stores shopping in their competitors' stores, spying, if you will. They're in the open about it, but they're trying to see if there's anything that they've discovered anew that they can very quickly get into their own stores before they fall behind. So you'll see a lot of that when you have a lot more fierce competition. The closer two types of stores are together on this this chart, you'll see that type of behavior where you're really monitoring your competitor's behavior and trying to emulate it, or not worry about it if you think it's wrong. This is sometimes called the shopping opportunity line along there. There's different places where you can go to get the same type of thing. You'll get more service as you go up toward the prestige store end of the shopping opportunity line, and pretty much self-service at the other end, but a big break in prices. So the closer together you have, if you have Sears and Penney's in the middle with a mass merchandiser, almost a department store type, they're going to be a lot more in competition with each other than an Neiman Marcus of a prestige store is going to be with a Walmart. Even though you might go and buy Levi jeans at each one, you'd save a lot of money at Walmart, not worrying about people seeing you there. Whereas at the prestige store, you may go there to be seen and to pay 3 times as much for a pair of jeans.